when you read in the newspapers about these horrific incidents where young children have committed suicide.
Any simple or not so simple signal that is coming to you need not go unnoticed. As a parent, as a teacher, even as a peer, I think we need to communicate with them that we are seeing this happening.
It's very important to let them identify their emotion. Today's child cannot identify the emotion.
Early trends that social media is impacting on very young minds.
It is a double-edged sword. The amount of social comparisons that it brings about, especially in our younger generation, is rampant to debilitate their self-esteem. And they get so crumbled because of these social comparisons. They start feeling that real world is the real world, and how they need to become perfect. It leads to self-harm to a great extent.
They want to emulate these actors and actresses or whoever they idolize. It's okay, you want to look good. Why do you want to look like somebody who's 20 years your senior?
Are the children equipped enough when they're already going through trauma? Are they able to verbalize?
Sometimes they don't know how to label it. They don't know what those emotions are. So first we need to allow them to express all kinds of emotions without a judgment. Good emotions and not so good emotions are a part of you. What we really need is we need to focus back on using 2 ears more than one mouth. Each student, each child has a story to share.
What about the parents? Do they still say Sharma ji ka beta to ye kar gaya?
No, today's parent wants a perfect everything. That's the problem. Everything has to be as they have visualized it. But the problem here is it's an imperfect world.
What about children who are facing abuse at home? Do they take it out?
I think a lot of parents may not be resorting to hitting, slapping, hurting the child, but they don't realize that these other forms of abuse are equally or more damaging.
And children have very, very tall antennas. They catch it.
Attention span disorder.
In class, many times I have children looking at me with that vacant look on the face. They've spaced out. And I tell them, channel nahi badlega. Yahi channel rahega.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the NI podcast with Smita Prakash. In today's episode, we discuss mental health of preteens. My guests today are Dr. Bhavna Barmi, Senior Clinical and Child Psychologist and founder of Happiness Studio. We will discuss common behavioral patterns seen in children and adults. Dr. Bhavna has some key points on how families can create a safe, supportive, emotional space at home. Also in the studio is Anshu Bedi, teacher at the Raghubir Singh Junior Modern School, with over 32 years' experience with teaching preteens. Anshu ma'am, as her students lovingly call her, will explain what are the challenges faced by educators today. Bhavna ma'am, Anshu ma'am, thank you so much for being in the podcast. I'm going to call you by your first names if I have your permission.
Please.
Okay.
And Smita, how do we call you?
By my first
Smita,
name.
okay.
Yes. So, the reason I have you both here is because both of you have a lot of experience of dealing with children. And all of us have been reading about, young children, preteens, not able to cope with stress, having a lot of anxiety issues, and going to the extent of committing suicide. And these are children who've been to schools where our children have been, or we have been to these schools, and facing the kind of things which all of us probably faced, bullying at the playground, or pressure by teachers, homework nahi kiya, kitab nahi diya, didn't submit assignments, or somebody called you motu, somebody beat you up in the playground, didn't give you permission to go to the washroom. These kind of things which, I don't know why, but I feel that our generation or the subsequent generations probably had the wherewithal to deal with this crisis or something like that. But now the children don't have it. So I wanted to find out from you both that what do you think is the reason for this low bandwidth, should I say? I'm not being critical of either parents, families or the children, but something is not working out which is resulting in our children going into this crisis mode. So I'd like to begin with you, Bhavna, to explain to me what you think it is the reason.
See, I think you've brought up a very pertinent theme in itself, because these days, yes, stress, which was unheard of, at least in childhood, has become very, very rampant in the society today. And I would say that this stress is a combination of a lot of factors. It starts, first of all, at the family level itself. The family expectations of the children have become very different. It moves on to the societal foundation of how people are seeing success and how success is being correlated with students with their grades and not really a holistic development. So the focus has now become very achievement oriented, very competitive, and that brings about a lot of academic pressure on the child. And because of the academic pressure, they start going through many different types of initial stress responses, which the society, the family, and even sometimes the school, the teachers, the peers go unnoticed with. And when those get unnoticed, they are the initial red flags, then they emerge into actual clinical concerns. And that's why we are seeing that the amount of mental health challenges that even young students at the primary level, moving on to the middle school level, are facing has immensely gone up. And then eventually it leads into things like self-harm, harm to others. So I think it's very, very important to begin with, as a society, to be aware of what are some of the signals that the children are giving to us, that they're moving from the lines of balance to the lines of imbalance in itself. So I would say that we should look at about 4 broad categories. The first one could be the physical symptomatology that the child brings to the surface, which could be in the form of even a disturbed sleep-wake cycle, what we call as insomnia. So there are 3 types of insomnias that come about, especially with students. One is called initial insomnia, that they want to sleep at a particular point of time, but they're not able to. So they keep tossing and turning in bed, and then of course our screen time debilitates that even further. So they want to sleep, they're not able to sleep, or they want to sleep for a particular tenure and middle insomnia comes up. They keep waking up in the middle of the night. And then terminal insomnia. They want to get up at a particular point of time, but they wake up much earlier. So your sleep-wake cycle is the first indicator. Second indicator could be your appetite disturbance. Sometimes students start eating a lot more. There's weight gain that gets noticed much later. Sometimes the students stop eating and there's weight loss that starts happening. There are different types of aches and pains that the student or the child expresses, but then we just ward it off as if it is nothing and, just get going with it. But that is psychosomatic. So at the somatic level, these are few signals that the child is giving. At the emotional level, sometimes they internalize the stress and get into, what we call as a depressive phase. Sometimes they externalize their stress into anxieties or into short temper, irritability, displacing of their anger. Sometimes the cause is something else, but the anger outburst is coming out on trivial issues, on some other people, on some other things which are not related to the actual cause. But this is noticeable, which we somewhere tend to ignore. The third aspect is our cognitive signals that the child gives. Cognitively, we will see that their attention concentration is coming down, their focus is coming down, their memory is coming down, retaining or forgetfulness is becoming an issue. Procrastination, that what they need to do today, they keep postponing. And then the fourth signal that they give us is in their behavioral sphere. In the behavioral sphere, students may not want to go to school. They start absenting themselves from school, giving various lame excuses or real excuses. There's social avoidance. What they were originally finding pleasure in, they stop getting into those kind of things. Sometimes they also have an increased use of substances, even if it could be tea, coffee. It could be other substances at the middle and the senior school. So I think we need to be very, very aware that there are signals that are coming. And we need to be sensitive to those signals so that we catch them young. Not only the students, we catch them young, but also the signals that they're giving to us. We catch them young to prevent a mental health epidemic from coming, which is absolutely rampant, especially with students in times of today.
I'll come to the aspect of children who are teenagers, middle school, senior school. But before that, Anshu, I want to ask you, what Bhavna was talking about when she said that how we measure success is different. It's all achievement driven. But even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was the same thing. Engineer nahi banoge, doctor nahi banoge, तो you are useless. If you haven't come in the first 3 ranks, then to kuch nahi hoga tumhara, bus driver banoge. These are things that we've grown up with. These kind of where success was how you were valued. One, I want to ask you that why is it that earlier generation of young children could cope with that aspect of it? Second one, which I'm hearing about, is this sleep issues. Do children fall asleep in classrooms because they're watching TV till late night, or they're on their devices and things like that? Attention span disorder. Tell me about that, because you have experience of over 3 decades dealing with young children. So explain to me these things.
See, firstly, today's child, I mean, they are all correct. The children, the parents, the teachers. I wouldn't say anybody is incorrect. But today's child is looking at instant gratification. I've done some work in the class. I should get a good, a smiley, a star. Parents also, to an extent, when the copy comes home, they look for that star, that smiley, and they feel validated. My bacha is doing very well. But the teacher, what she is doing is, she is looking beyond that. She is looking at the holistic development. She is looking at how much involved is he in the class. What are his habits? How does she get the best out of him? She is looking at a larger picture. So that's where the differences come between what a parent wants from a teacher and what a teacher is actually giving to the child. Sleeping in the class very often. They've had a late night. Parents have dragged the little one along. Hasn't been able to get that correct amount of sleep. What happens in the class is, if a child has gone to sleep, I'll let the child sleep. I tell the others, let's not disturb. Obviously, the body wants rest. I'm not going to force the child to get up and study. No. In fact, it's very lovely how the rest of the children, if I tell them, let's not make loud noise, so-and-so is sleeping. So they all
quieten
down. They all put in the effort, okay, this one is sleeping. And yes, when a child is so involved with external things, gadgets nowadays, it's very difficult. I know it's difficult for the parents. In class, many times I have children looking at me with that vacant look on the face. They've spaced out. And I tell them, channel nahi badlega. Yahi channel rahega.
Okay.
Not
able to concentrate on one person speaking for a long period of time.
So it's a huge challenge for a teacher. She has to keep on modulating her voice. You can't sit and teach. You have to be walking around. You have to keep the tempo up. It has to be a lot of fun in the class so that the child feels involved. This is because of those gadgets at home that today the teacher has to put in extra effort to keep the attention towards herself. So it is a tough job today, but what to do?
So this thing also, the whole thing about attention span, because we are changing channels all the time, or the gadgets and the scrolling of Instagram. So, those little ones. And I'm noticing even those, teachers who teach on the net, they're constantly cracking jokes. And I was like, why do they need to do this? Now I get it, what you're saying is because...
You have to keep them involved. You have to keep them in a happy space. You have to keep on innovating while you're teaching. The mind is constantly going on and on. Now next, what am I going to do? I'm going to pretend I've touched the smartboard and I've touched it at the wrong spot. And my thing has vanished. And it's all a lot of drama in the class. I've lost it. And then they'll tell you, because I pretend I have no aptitude for technology. They love telling you. this is what you'll do, and he'll get the matter back on the smart board. So it's an involvement. I've got them involved. There's a lot of joy. It's imperfect, the class. A teacher's supposed to know everything, but all that drama gets their attention towards me
But what
and
about
what I
parents?
have to say.
Do the parents, have more expectations from their children as compared to, say, 10 years ago, what parents expected their children? At least in junior school, what is the stress for a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, or even till 7?
Performance. Should get a star every day. Should be selected for so and so activity. Should be in participating in this also, that also, my child, my child, my child. And for us, it's 40 children in the class. Each one matters. For us, for that 1 year, each child is the center of my universe. So I'll try to do good with all of them. But parents at home do not realize that there are 40 in the class that she's catering to. It's a mother-child relationship at primary level. And when you're trying to bring up all of them, there'll be days when one or two will feel, today she didn't do this for me. For a child to enter the house, aaj kya hua, is the question. The question should be, aaj किस चीज़ में मज़ा आया, किस चीज़ में मज़ा नहीं आया. But it's data collection. इसने क्या बोला, उसने क्या बोला, इस टीचर ने क्या बोला, what happened here, what happened there. And then it's the WhatsApp university, the groups.
And the Google Baba teachers.
And they'll put everything down. My child was told this, my child, and then another parent will say something, and it just builds up and builds up and builds up. And then you have the helicopter parents who will come in and
Explain that term
they
to me.
tell you what to do in class with their child. They tell you what to write as a remark in the copy for the child. They tell you how to talk to your child, as if your 30 plus experience matters not. Thousands of children have gone ahead. A teacher knows what she's doing. But helicopter parents are the ones who will tell you, this is how you have to deal with my child. So it's instant gratification again. So
But also there was this, we've all grown up, I guess, thinking that, our parents used to say that the teacher is right, regardless. And there were times the teachers were not right. But there was no question So there was no redressal. Basically, you couldn't complain about your teacher to your parent, and you couldn't complain about your parent to your teacher.
Right.
There were no counselors when we were growing up that you could go and tell the counselor. And my God, if you ever told anybody, that my parent, did this or did that, or my teacher did this or did that, you've had it. So there were no counselors. Now, after that came the era where if you went to a counselor, you were considered a problem child. Now it's gone to another level that every kid needs counseling.
Become like a fad.
It's become like a fad.
we do have counselor coming in and taking a period in the class.
No, which I feel is very
It's
good.
very
because,
helpful. It's very helpful
yeah.
because they can talk to the counselor what they can't say to their parents or to their teacher. So she becomes like a connect between the two.
I think it's very good that the curriculum is allowing that, and I think
Yes.
another thing that the curriculum should allow should be some kind of a social emotional literacy, which should be a part of the curriculum, and that should not only be for students, that should also be for parents.
It's very
That-
important to let them identify their emotion. Today's child cannot identify the emotion. If I'm feeling angry, ठीक है ना, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. The parent or sometimes the teacher. If I'm feeling isolated in the class, सब तुम्हारे friends हैं, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं ऐसे बोलने की. But there are times when you need to sit down and explore and tell the child what you're feeling is frustration, beta. Even I feel frustrated
Give me an
at
example.
times.
For example, क्या होता है?
See, there are times when I'm looking at the class, I'm teaching, and I see a face. A teacher can read a face.
Absolutely.
I see the face, and after the class, I call the child and I ask the child, क्या हुआ? आज क्या बात है? नहीं, कुछ नहीं, नहीं, कुछ तो है. Tell me. How can I help you? English में ये आपने बोला था मुझे समझ में नहीं आया. Doesn't matter. Let's sit down right now and let's sort it out. Babu, doesn't matter. English is not my language also. It's a foreign language for us. We are learning it. I also learned it when I was your age, I had an English teacher and, making that kind of connection, making the child feel comfortable that it's okay to feel frustrated, to feel you don't know something, express it. Expression नहीं हो रहा है आजकल.
Not to say that you're so dumb you don't even know this much.
No way.
But it happens.
It happens.
It happens. Like especially when you come to mid-level or something. You have the experience of having studied in several schools because of your 4G background. You would know this, that when children come in these 4G schools also, you might have come from another state and come there and you didn't know this. I still remember when I was in middle school and there was this kid who had come in from another state and he hadn't heard of something called the Pythagoras theorem. And, everything for us at that time was how to use the theorem for geometry and how to use that. And I was like, you will not clear this year if you haven't already come with that knowledge. And the whole class was laughing at that boy. That तुमने इतना भी, अब वो आया था सैनिक स्कूल से, जहाँ पे they had not taught it in that, even though it was NCRT, even though it was CBSE.
Sometimes curriculums are different
वो
in different
different,
schools.
कि नहीं सिखाया उस साल बेचारे को. तो वो, for him, not only did he have to learn that theorem and learn the application 1 year after we had all learnt it, but it was also that you will not pass.
And it was also the dealing with all this bullying that was happening, harassment that was happening, embarrassment
Which
that was happening.
Now when I look back at it, I was bullying him.
Yeah.
When I told him कि तू तो पास ही नहीं होगा भाई,
Bullying
अगर
is
तेरे को
very
इतना भी नहीं
real.
आता.
Bullying is very real in
I
schools.
didn't realize it that it was just that little comment of mine must have impacted that boy in now if I could just say sorry भैया गलती हो गई मेरे से. But I'm just saying to you that this is something could be involuntary and you would understand this because you have also changed several schools. So explain to me, how do schools and how do teachers, how are they supposed to cope with these kind of things which seem innocuous?
Smita, we were just talking about it a few minutes ago that I think a part of the curriculum definitely needs to include what we call as social emotional literacy, where emotional intelligence and empathy, and now extension of empathy in terms of digital kindness or cyberbullying tactics needs also to be included. Not for students only, but also for teachers, also for parents, so that there is a hand-in-glove situation and a stronger foundation of accountability, support and protection that is given to the students. I think what we really need is we need to focus back on using 2 ears more than one mouth. So we should start with what we call as active listening. Each student, each child has a story to share.
Absolutely.
And we need to listen to those experiences as an adult, as a family member, as a teacher, as a counsellor, as a psychologist that I am, to their story without judgment, without correction, because we very quickly want to come to solutions, without correction and without minimizing their emotion or their expression. So we should give them a chance to fully be able to communicate with us. What they really want is validation.
Are they able to verbalize and tell, are the children equipped enough when they're already going through trauma of a certain degree? Are they able to verbalize and say? Because it also sounds like you're complaining about the people who are closest to you. Could be your parents, you could be your grandparents, could be your best friend who's bullying you,
And that's why, Smita, I said empathy training is very important. So for us to be able to build a rapport with that child is so important, to build that trust for the person to be able to share with us. So sometimes the trust itself is built or not built. If the trust is built, then even the small signals that there are, what we were talking about initially, and when you start seeing those signals, you start open-ended conversations around that. I see that you're not sleeping very well these days. What is disturbing you that is taking away your sleep? I see you're not eating very well. I see you're going through different types of aches and pains, or your tummy has a lot of discomfort, or you're frequently urinating. Whatever signal that you're seeing, you can use that as a modus of open-endedly connecting with the child to be able to express his or her emotions. And sometimes they don't know how to label it. They don't know what those emotions are. So first we need to allow them to express all kinds of emotions without a judgment. Good emotions and not so good emotions are a part of you. So accept those emotions. And then we go on to the second stage of learning how to deal with those emotions. Sometimes it could be a personal dealing, which could be through journaling. It could be creative arts like dance, music, a lot of movement that happens, So give them a chance to express, if not in words, but in other forms of expression.
Okay.
And thirdly, communication with people whom they can trust. So we need to, as adults, be that front runner, that I am available for you. Sometimes direct talk doesn't happen because making eye contact and expressing emotion sometimes becomes difficult. So then you can do walk the talk. So you just go hand in hand or side by side and walk. So they are also distracted at a physical level, but they're able to express. Drive and talks are doing very well these days, because they don't need to directly look at you, but they can express. And because you're actively listening and giving them a chance with open-ended questions which are non-judgmental.
But also, I notice a number of parents saying they don't talk to us. It's only They don't tell us what is happening in class. They don't.
In class, I practice the 777 rule.
Yeah, so good.
Explain.
Start the day, circle time. It's 7 minutes, but it goes into 40 because I have 40 students. They all have something to say. So we begin the day with a circle time. Midday again. Take a little break before I begin a lesson. Let's just chat. Half the day is gone by. Let's just talk about it. They come up with so many things. They have so much to say. And before they leave for home, again, 7 minutes.
But how do you do that? Because
drop everything and let's just chat.
No, but when you come to senior school or middle school, the syllabus pressure is so much. Where is the time for all this?
No.
There is.
You'll find time.
See, that is what, Smita, you call as quality time. To get the best out of the quantity time, you have to delegate some quality time to be able to get the best benefits out. Same thing at school, similar things you should do at home.
Syllabus will be easily done once you've connected with the child.
When you read in the newspapers about these horrific incidents where young children have committed suicide and they couldn't cope, almost everywhere the parents say that हमको तो पता ही नहीं था. He was so normal. He was studying. Everybody says normal. The word used is normal. The friends would say that there were times he was quiet. There were times she used to cry quietly, but not tell us what is wrong. Everybody misses the signals or tries to think that there's a different reason. She was crying because she had period pain, is a very common thing. PCOD. That's why the girl is crying. The boy is crying क्योंकि वो entrance exam में उसका हुआ नहीं, 2 entrance में हुआ नहीं, or the parents have got posted out and he's staying in a hostel, not able to adjust. We tend to give concrete reasons for the grief, not dealing with the grief but the reasons of the grief.
Absolutely.
Tell me how they are two different things and how to cope. As a parent, how does one do it?
Yeah. See, Smita, we spoke about the signals that our children give to us which go amiss. Even a lot of times anxieties and depressions are going amiss because we minimize those thoughts or those expressions that they're giving. So I think we as adults, we as even peers, need to be sensitive to what is coming. And then the moment we, like we gave an example, even if you're not sleeping well, even if you're not eating well, even if there are different types of psychosomatic aches and pains, your attention is coming low, your concentration is not there, you're forgetting more than what you're retaining, any kind of a thing, you're avoiding situations, any simple or not so simple signal that is coming to you need not go unnoticed. As a parent, as a teacher, even as a peer, I think we need to communicate with them that we are seeing this happening. I understand that there may be something that is disturbing you. I am here to offer that support to you. I am here to listen to what you have to say to me. So I think a lot of it begins with communication. Communication in a safe zone, which is not in the perfectionism trap or not fixated on the future goals, but in the current here and now. So giving them that kind of an empathetic listening and an empathetic expression of what they are experiencing is the first and foremost thing. And then suppose we feel that they're actually going through some concern, then we can enable them to overcome that. So suppose they want to do better in class and they're not able to. So as a parent, as a teacher, we join hands and see what can we do to give them better things. So there are different learning styles that are happening. So identify that learning style for the child. Identify that learning time for the child. So some students are better as morning learners. Some students are better as evening or night learners. So identify what is the best time so that they can catch the frog at that time. So that means they do more difficult tasks or more difficult assignments at the time which is their optimal learning time.
So it's not necessary that one rule or one ki subah उठ के जो 5 बजे पढ़ाई करते हैं, they are the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not necessary.
You know, there is a saying, early to rise, and
if it works, it works. But
yes,
it's not necessary that rule works for everybody.
So we need to identify first, along with the student, what is the learning style? What is the learning time? Learning styles could be, a lot of students are visual. So they like to learn visually through graphics, through diagrams, through mind maps. A lot of students are auditory. So they learn better with discussions, they learn better with recordings, they learn better with teaching others. A lot of students are kinesthetic, hands-on, movement works with them. So once we identify what is the learning style, what is the learning time, and we consolidate it with the, what you call the study habits. In study habits, have a time management matrix for them. Let them assign what is important to them, what is urgent to them, and then you guide them as a parent or an authority figure. That along with all what you're saying, balance is very important. So sometimes even overstudying or just one focus on academics, grades brings out a burnout, brings out an exhaustion.
But how come the children these days don't have the capacity to deal with it as compared to previous generations? The same kind of pressures were there, if not more pressures were there, because there weren't so many avenues, so many professions that one could go into. There were just a few of them. So how come today's children, when they have so much available, it's not, they don't have the capacity, wherewithal to bear with this kind of
So much is
thing?
too much now.
Okay.
The kind of exposure they have, they are not able to compartmentalize the information that's coming. Sometimes they just want to do it all. Sometimes they feel so overwhelmed by it, they don't want to do anything.
Okay.
So the balance has to be there. The balance is where a child who's able to balance that is the child who's getting ahead. The child who's not being able to balance that is drowning, basically. So that's where the elders of the house, the teacher, they all have to step in and help that child.
But I've also noticed, Anshu, many times parents, grandparents saying that even at dinner tables. Now, dinner table conversation used to be sacrosanct in most families, right?
Sitting down at dinner together was...
Sitting together. Now, everybody sits in separate rooms. Even in middle class homes, everybody wants to eat separately. And there's no communal watching of TV that is happening. Everybody has their own devices, at least in middle class and upper middle class homes, that's what is happening. But even in rural homes, children are eating separately, or what I've noticed a lot is that everybody has earplugs on. They're not listening to their parents or their grandparents. Spending that time with family is just not there. Even if they're sitting at the same time, there's no conversation because there is that breakdown.
That's what we
place.
had. That's what they don't have.
Okay. That's what Anshu just said. I think the word balance is very important. And as elders, I think we need to inculcate that what are we looking for in our life is a balanced lifestyle. There is and set some rules for it. Set some guidelines for it, if not rules. And those guidelines should be democratic. So that means involve the child in setting those guidelines and you will better succeed and not fail. If you are autocratic as a parent, then if you are the one who's only setting the rules, then it will lead to more failures. But if it's a democratic understanding, so for example, we're talking about mealtime. So suppose we say that we go by the saying, and that is very true, a family that eats together stays together. Right? So suppose we say that one of the things that we want to inculcate as a part of balance is a meal together. I would like to say as a mother, dinner together, but then I give the choice that we have 3 meals in a day or 4 meals in a day. That's breakfast, which starts before your school time. There's lunch, where maybe 1 or 2 of the family members may not be there. There's tea time and snack time, and there's dinner time. Which out of this would you feel would be most appropriate for the family to be together in? So inadvertently, you're also giving them a choice, but you're also telling them that, listen, the family is together at one particular time. So you give me the informed consent that dinner would be a sacrosanctal time for all of us to be together. Then that dinner does not need to be eaten with your gadgets. So we switch off the television, we switch off our gadgets, we switch off our mobile phones and take off those earplugs which are always inside of here.
It is.
So set guidelines of balance, that there will be time for you to do your studies, for you to do your self-study, for you to do your tutorials. In between that, it is very important to have quality time for your own self, where you pick up a passion, you pick up a hobby, pick up a sport. Any form of exercise is absolutely a mandate for balance. And along with that, quality time. I think COVID taught us all that how important was social connects.
Yeah.
And social interactions which are real and not real. So a lot of the social media is giving them only real time, which actually is debilitating because it leads them into social comparisons, reduces their self-worth, brings about feelings of inadequacies, body image issues start coming about.
I want to ask you
we
about
had
that.
games of carom and ludo to pass the time. Today, a child doesn't even know these games.
What about this body shaming thing? Because that's become very big.
It is.
We've all grown up with some kind of body shaming which was done to us. And it did have an impact on all of us. We've all been, even now, while I'm doing this show, I'm sure there'll be a lot of comments ki moti hai, budiya hai. Those kind of comments are continuously coming. Women are constantly, and you won't find that for male journalists. Nobody will be told ki tere baal aise hain, you're looking old or whatever. It's but women journalists will be subjected to this.
Women journalists like you are iconic.
No, that's very sweet of
I
you.
think what we need is, we need to be sure of who I am.
Yeah, but what
you have
I'm
to
trying
instill that in a child.
Yeah, the self-worth.
It's
The
something that
self-worth.
we have developed it from childhood, where it was told in some form or the other body shaming was done.
Yes.
I was too thin, so that was a constant thing which was told to me, that you're too thin, dundee, and and there are boys who go through it too. Who
a
are
fat
too
boy
thin, a
is
fat boy.
fat-shamed
Yeah.
in
So
the
how,
class.
tell
Motu.
me.
That hurts.
Absolutely.
But then you have to tell the child, but तेरे से ज़्यादा कोई intelligent है इस class में. You read so well, you speak so well, or you draw so well, or you do such and such things so well. Nobody in the class can beat you at that.
I think what we need
You
to
have to reinforce the positives.
What about the parents? Do they do that, or do they still say Sharma ji ka beta to ye kar gaya?
I don't
Verma
know.
ji ki
I don't
beti
know.
ye kar gayi?
Today's parent wants a perfect everything. That's the problem. They want a perfect child. They want perfect scores. They want a perfect school. They want a perfect teacher. They want a perfect management of the school. Everything has to be as they have visualized it. But the problem here is, it's an imperfect world out there.
Absolutely. So we
When
have
you
to
walk
get out of that
they are not
perfectionism trap.
equipping their children to face an imperfect world. They want to be the road rollers who will pave the way for the child. How long are you going to bubble wrap this child and send him to school? He's going to step out of the school. He's going to have to face finding a job, adjusting to a boss, adjusting to a mother-in-law for the girls. I mean, so many things, so many
Even for the
adjustments.
boys these days.
Yeah. So we were talking about body shaming. Why is it that you feel that things like children are not able to cope with things like being called a motu or kali or those kind of things, and our parents doing it, our grandparents doing it like they used to, that हाय हमारी बेटी तो काली है, इसका तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, इसकी शादी नहीं होगी, या हमारा बेटा मोटा है तो क्या हुआ, मोटा है, what is it? What
No,
are these
it happened with us.
stereotypes?
It happened within our families. We outgrew it. We knew it was a phase.
Did we know it?
We knew it. It's a phase. We came out of it. But today, the child feels this is the center, epicenter of everything that I'm feeling. You have to distract. You have to distract the child from it. Parent also starts talking about it within the family circle. A grandmother or somebody mentions it. It gets reinforced with the child that yes, I am Mota, I am Kali, I am this, I am that. You need to stop that conversation. You need to tell everybody, hello, we can't be talking like this. And you need to tell the child, you're going to grow, this is growing age, you're going to go taller, you're going to be different as you grow. Every year you're different. Don't you see? I buy new clothes for you. You've changed. The sizes have changed. So you're going to outgrow all this. And focus on the other things. Shift the focus. If a child is feeling that I am too dark and is feeling in the class, sitting there quietly, I am 1% less than so and so. You need to, if the parent has confided in you, spoken to you as a teacher, you need to bring that child out by focusing on other things.
Do the children...
Same thing at home.
Do you tell the other children, don't call him
No.
Motu,
Not
don't
at
call
all.
her Kali?
Not at all. That will reinforce it. They will do it all the more.
The more you tell them not to put their
Not
hand in the
to.
socket, the more they'll put it. So, sometimes negation doesn't work, but
Yes.
affirmations work even more. So,
what you were saying.
What Anshu was saying is that increase the self-worth. Increase your own self-worth, be confident about your own self. And I think one exercise that we as parents or we as teachers should do with the students is creating something like a SWOT analysis, which we learn so late when we do our MBAs and higher studies and all. SWOT is very simple. SWOT is identifying you, yourself, and accepting yourself completely. So an expansion of SWOT means S is for strengths, W is for weaknesses, and weaknesses need to be seen as your areas of improvement, areas of acceptance. O is opportunities and T is threats. So strength and weakness is more temperamental. Opportunities and threats are more circumstantial, more external to yourself. So the moment a student goes through his or her own SWOT, they start feeling that there is so much more to me because we start with that strength. And we keep focusing on that strength and we manifest that strength. So sometimes it's easier to play your life or play your game focusing on your strengths rather than trying to overcome your weaknesses.
So these happiness clinics that you have, tell me about them. How are you, why is there a need for a happiness, an emotion like happiness to be associated with a clinic?
See, an emotion of happiness needs to be associated with you. And when you are not happy, when you are crossing that line of towards unhappiness is when you need support. So we are saying that we are here for you to re-establish your well-being. And one of the simplest ways of re-establishing well-being is seeing that happiness is all around you. Just go ahead and pick it. So start your life by counting your blessings. End your life by expressing, end your life means end your day by expressing your gratitude. So there is so much in life that is already with you for which you can be happy. So let's go ahead and recognize that. In the same way as your self-worth, there is so much that you are empowered with. Enjoy that rather than focusing on what you don't have. And these days, one of the biggest culprits is social media.
Okay.
Social media, the amount of social comparisons that it brings about, especially in our younger generation, especially in our students, is rampant to debilitate their self-esteem, their self-worth. And they get so crumbled because of these social comparisons, they start feeling that that real world is
The real world.
the real
It's
world, and how they need to
heartbreaking.
become perfect, and where
Yeah.
all this body image also comes from.
Yeah.
It leads to anxieties, it leads to depressions, it leads to self-harm to a great extent.
Yeah.
So all these, and then, people get into personality concerns. Narcissistic personality disorder is on the high these days. Borderline personality disorder is on the high these days. So all this is becoming a part of the psychiatric gamut that was not seen earlier. So, one needs to be very, very careful on treading how we need to acknowledge life. And that is what Happiness Studio does.
Okay.
That re-establish yourself and be happy with what you have to start with.
Do you see this happening? Like, can you see this early trends that social media is impacting on very young minds, that they get influenced by these influencers? I mean, I can see for myself, crowds in airports and all that, and she's a travel influencer, she's a makeup influencer, and they have this massive fan following. So what they say and what they do impacts young minds to such a great extent.
It does. And good for them. They're doing well for themselves. They've chosen a profession. They want to tell people how to do makeups, how to travel. Fine. Okay, great. But it's up to you how you're going to take it. That's what I spoke about earlier, balance.
Yeah.
People around you should be able to help you balance that. That is the profession of that person. That person is teaching. Take the good from it. Let the rest of it go.
Like young girls and boys, more so girls, I guess, because the pressures are there, are unable to post any picture without filters.
Yes.
And it's happening with women also. I'm seeing so many people, you can't even recognize their pictures when they post on Facebook or Instagram, because they have gone through so many filters in that. And
But on the other hand, you have pictures of people who are unabashedly themselves too. So
that's lesser, no?
it is there. So
we should
let's
use them as role models.
as an argument or a conversation with your younger child, explaining ye bhi to hai, and this is also there. So
I think
take
it's
the
very
best
important to
from
have
it.
discussions around good social media literacy. So, how you want to engage, what is the modus of online engagement is very important, because social media need not be all bad. It is a double-edged sword.
Yes.
So, if you're using social media wisely and not excessively and unregulatedly, then it brings about connect in your life, it instills creativity in your life, it can bring about awareness, education, things like that. So as a part of our digital literacy, I think we need to be aware of what kind of online engagement, one, as role models we should go through, so that we are able to inculcate that kind of digital citizenship onto others, and especially to our children.
It matters so much, because randomly I'm telling you this, that I noticed when I had been a few, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when I had gone to Dubai, I saw like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds having fake eyelashes, fake nails, young girls doing this, and I was like, why? This is the age where they should have broken nails, because they're in the playground. And boys with gelled hair, they're like preteens. What is this pressure? And the pressure is because everybody's posting. The earlier generation didn't bother with all this, because there were no pictures taken, there was no posting done. So nobody cared how you looked, because you were on the play field, you were in the pool, you were whatever, in whichever class. But now everything is posted. So young kids, how they dress, that's the reason why we have uniforms in school, so that everybody looks the same, everybody is at the same, nobody knows who Amir kaun hai, Gareeb kaun hai, wo kaun hai. I mean, everybody is wearing the same thing. So where does one stop? Like, how do you, these platforms should also have some kind of, cutoff, that you cannot post, you cannot have an account.
That's what some countries are trying to do.
Yeah.
below 16 you can't have an account,
Yeah.
which is a
Australia
wonderful
has
thing.
started that,
Which is
yeah.
a wonderful thing, and I think we should go that way.
Yeah.
Because we have very, very young kids. being
Sudha Murthy
exposed to
said that,
this.
it's time that
We
these
should.
platforms. Do you see this happening that, kids are getting
Yes, they are.
influenced and
Yeah.
parents also?
I have a farewell. I'm going to get a coat stitched like so and so
Actor.
actor, a blouse
Yeah.
like so and so actress. It's there. It's very, very real. They want to emulate these actors and actresses or whoever they idolize. And yes, there should be a regulation on that. It's okay. You want to look good. You look your age and look good. Why do you want to look like somebody who's 20 years your senior?
Or
So
even
there
if
should
he's
be
the
a-
same age, why do you want to look like somebody else?
Somebody
you need to
else.
look like yourself. You need to love yourself. And that's where that entire concept that we need to keep reconnecting on is your self-worth, and you are beautiful in your self-worth.
Exactly.
And a lot of times when we were talking about Smita, you were saying broken nail is also fine.
Yeah.
So
Imperfections are okay.
absolutely, it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
Is what also we need to promote.
Yeah.
One of the promotions needs to come from us as parents. When we accept that this nail paint which is off is also okay, because there are more important things to do in life.
Yeah.
And this is not your entire field that you're banking upon. So going back into that SWOT analysis, once you know that your strengths are who you are and who make you powerful, you keep empowering yourself with that and not wanting to compete with another person's strength.
How
We
are
saw you with
parents-
Madhuri Dixit, and both of us are adequately comfortable sitting here with you, So
But believe me, I was nervous before. I looked at myself 20 times in the mirror that, oh my God, how am I going to sit in front of her? But when you sit in front of her, you're just so, nervous because you just look at, there's an aura.
But Smita,
Then-
your strength is you are Smita Prakash.
But at that
my
mo-
strength is I am Dr. Bhavna Barmi.
Yeah.
I may not know the Pythagoras theorem, but maybe I know Freudian theory so beautifully.
Yeah.
So I need to trust my own strengths more than a comparative of that beautiful dance. I may not be able to dance like Michael Jackson ever. But I can dance to the tunes of therapy. I can dance to the tunes of life, maybe more beautifully than what Michael Jackson did. I don't need to use substances.
Yeah. Teachers go through a lot of training. Students are getting trained in the class. Parenting. How is one supposed to be a good parent or a bad parent? How is one supposed to deal with this? Like, oh, my child came back and said that he got bashed up in class. Right? Now, is somebody, not bashed up is wrong word, but maybe pushed and shoved. Now, should I complain to the parent, to the teacher? Should I complain to the principal? Should I just tell the child कि ये तो होता है कभी कभी? There is no training that parents
There
go
are no
through.
good and bad parents. Till date, we are exploring. We are still trying to find our way around. As our kids grow up, we have other challenges. They are facing their challenges. We are trying to be supportive. We are trying to be with them all the time. So there's no good, no bad. Yes, if there is a bullying, if there is an instant in the class where your child has been shoved, hit, do approach the school.
Okay.
Do talk to the teacher because she's there. She can help your child. You can't tell your child, be strong. That's not okay. No, that's not the response that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to inform the school. The school has its own process of going through how to deal with that situation, how to empower your child in school, how to make your child feel comfortable, safe in the school. You have counselors, you have teachers, you have so much of support. The child cannot feel threatened in the school. That's not okay, ever. So yes, I would say if there is an issue, please approach, take them into confidence. Communication, like you said, is so important. But communication without a threat.
Without a threat.
And
Bhavna,
without blaming them that तुमने कुछ करा होगा इसीलिए तुमको पिटाई
And
हुआ
no,
या somebody was rude
not
to you.
blaming the other person also. Coming to the school and informing
Huh.
of an incident
what
has taken
is-
place. Please look into this.
You were talking about quality time, spending time at, having a meal together and things. You're also talking about double income families now, people having long hours at work, coming back late at night, having 6-day weeks sometimes, and on a Sunday you just want to collapse but to be all the time a parent who's watching signals, watching this, parenting as well as a career, the pressures are so much these days because jobs, the job insecurity is also tremendous. So if you don't give that 110% at work, your job might be at risk. You might lose your job. And there's so much involved now, with your job. It's not as if you can quit your job and, come back to it later. You have a long gap, you're not at the workplace. Very rarely can you really come back to the profession because that gap that you've done, technology has taken over. Your job might not be available anymore. So the pressures on keeping your job are so much that parenting then takes a back seat, or sometimes you don't watch the signals. So this quality time becomes extremely difficult, isn't it?
It becomes difficult, and thereby it becomes more and more important also. See, Smita, what a job is a job, right? I don't want to say that parents should see parenting as another job.
Right.
They should just let it flow as a vibe, as a mojo, as an energy in their routine life. So when, like we say, if you're in a job that you love, you just are more successful with it. But I'm not saying this for jobs. But if I'm saying it metaphorically, that if you're seeing parenting as a job, then if you love what you're doing, then you'll be able to find that adequate time to be sensitive, if not vigilant. You'll be able to find that time to have that quality time. So here we're not talking about quantity. We're saying spend that quality time, but when you spend that quality time, know exactly what you're doing. Your quality time is not I'm looking at a screen and you're looking at a screen as a parent and a child. Our quality time is our telephones, our screens, our media is away from us, and you and me are now the connect with each other. Sometimes just breathing together, sometimes just walking together, sometimes just talking, playing something together is adequate quality time. It need not always be about finding the signals. It's about creating a happy state of mind. And that happiness can be different for different children that you have. One of your child might be very outgoing. So going out with them for quality time may be something that they will nurture. They will bond with you on. Another child might be indoor. So like what Anshu was saying, playing carom board or Ludo could be something that they would engage in. So identify what is the pleasure for your child, connect with them on pleasure, connect with them on active listening, let them share when you ask open-ended questions, give them that non-judgmental space for them to come and discuss a needle to a murder with you. And thereby, when you were talking about getting bullied in school, I think it's very important for a parent also to address it, to say that I understand that you've shared a concept, or you've shared that you were bullied in school, or you were abused in school, or by a peer, or by a friend, whatever the challenge is in your life. How do you feel about it is when we get the emotional component on it. And then, what do you think you would like to do about it to prevent it in the future? What is the support you would want from me as a parent? And then take a consensus and then move ahead. Suppose he says, I would like to go into counseling. Then you should support help-seeking behavior. Help-seeking behavior is not a weakness, it is a strength. And you don't have to do it all by yourself. Like as a working mother, as a working parent, I don't need to do all the cooking myself.
Yeah.
But on a birthday, if I bake a cake, that is quality time. That is special. Right? So you can outsource some of your responsibilities because we are double-incomed parents.
Yeah.
So
Get that.
learn what resources you can use to optimize yourself, because you should not disrespect your self-care and only give respect and care to others. You need to look after yourself. The more you look after yourself, the more you'll be able to look after others, and especially children.
Anshu,
And this has to be done by both the parents,
Absolutely.
not
Okay.
the mother only.
yes, please explain that also. Yeah.
A planner comes to you at the beginning of the year, you know when the PTMs are. Be present, both of you. You know the dates. Find time. Saying, I am busy, my wife will be there, does not help. You both have to be there. It's not her child only. When she gets your support, it's easier for her. And the child also feels, both my parents know about me. They are involved.
Yeah. I must-
Otherwise, they play one against the other.
Yeah.
They are very good with that.
I saw this one meme the other day in which it says that during our time, what was a parent-teacher meeting? There's a guy on a scooty with the kid at the back and he says, "Batana kaun si class mein hai tu?" You know, like parent-teacher meeting wale. Then you ask kaun si class mein hai, you don't know which.
And just continuing that, what Anshu was saying, there was a couple that came to me for counseling for a young child. And I said, what is the name of the child? And I looked directly at the father and he says, Naam, I'll keep confidential. Ye hai. Very senior bureaucrats of our country. What is the age of your child? Name he gave within a second. Age of the child he took few seconds. What is the class of your child? After about 30-40 seconds, he still got that class. What is your child's favorite subject? Then he nudged the wife. बताओ डॉक्टर साहब आपसे पूछ रही हैं. So I said, पर मैं तो उनसे पूछ ही नहीं रही, मैं तो आपको पूछ रही हूँ. So he says, ये सब मैं नहीं देखता.
I'm the provider. I bring the money.
And he
No, but they
actually
both
said
will be
that
working.
I am the
They both will
provider
be working.
vis-a-vis the wife also working in a
Yes.
similar profession of as much repute. But I would still say a change is coming in our society. Even I'm sitting on some boards of schools these days. The parent-teacher meetings are actually seeing a transition in the last few years. There are more fathers than ever before that are coming for them, for the parent-teacher meetings as a couple and sometimes even singly, which is good. So, we must appreciate that an effort is being taken. In helicopter parenting, I feel the father is more a helicopter than the mother in times of today. Because somewhere they, all of our good talks also on social media are promoting them to be a part and supportive of parenting, but they sometimes take it to the compensatory level.
Yes.
And then they get into that helicopter, over-involved, over-controlling, providing solutions before even if it is required, unsolicited advice being given. So we need to be always in the grey areas, not the black or the white.
What about separated parents, like, or divorced? What about the children of those parents at parent-teacher meetings and in classrooms? Do you see conflict? Do you see unresolved issues?
There are sometimes children who, go into a shell because of what's happening at home. There is strife going on. There is words being exchanged at home. You will find that child sitting in the class in a shell. If you're able to communicate with the parents and understand the background, you deal with it. You bring that child out of that shell. You tell that child, I see you in hundreds of ways in the class. And that's as much help as you can give.
Yeah.
Child has to face what the child is facing. We do have young children. Sometimes I do have a little one come up to me and say, Mummy, Papa की लड़ाई हुई थी कल. So you talk to the child and say, कुछ नहीं होता. कल तूने
You
भी
are
तो
not at
इसके
fault.
साथ भी लड़ाई करी थी.
हाँ.
It's okay. कभी-कभी हम एक दूसरे से agree नहीं करते हैं. हर चीज़ पे एक दूसरे के साथ we can't be agreeing. So sometimes we disagree and sometimes we raise our voices. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a natural thing.
And
to
you are
happen.
not at fault.
And you are not at
Yeah,
fault.
I think that
of
is very
course.
important, Smita.
Yeah.
One, not to minimize what that person went through, what that child went through because of that fight. Validate that I understand that, you felt disturbed. You felt hurt seeing Mama, Papa being in a conflict. Secondly, I want you to understand it was not because of you. Don't get into a self-blame or a self-critique that because of me, things like this are happening
And
at
you
home.
don't need to take sides.
Right.
Yeah. And then coming to this, that you don't need to take sides. And then fourthly, telling them that sometimes it is okay for people and adults to fight because they are only arguing over certain disagreements that they have. And fifthly, give them the peer connection, that sometimes you and your friend also get into arguments, but that does not mean that there is more friendship or less friendship. There is more love or less love. This is when the parents are together and they're going through some challenges which they are trying to sort out through fights, which is not ideally the best thing. And the worst for them is to do that fight in front of the children. But that is parent education. But what we do with the child is take them through these steps, starting with not minimizing but validating their hurt or their pain.
But what about children who are facing abuse at home? Do they take it out on
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They think if it's okay for mummy or papa to hit me, it's okay for me to do it to my peer in the classroom. So you have to call in the parents, you have to talk to the parents. Even if I have to say anything about a child to a parent, I always start my sentence with मारना मत, प्यार से समझाना, आज ये हुआ था, या something like this is happening with your child, but you need to make your child understand. थप्पड़ मत मारना, because that will validate थप्पड़ मारना, it's okay. So some parents do understand. But yes, more often parents who are being physical at home, you will have children coming to the school and imitating that same action without understanding what they are doing. It's without understanding. For the young ones,
it is displacement of their stress.
Yes.
They can't do anything back at home.
and they don't know it's wrong. In the sense, it's wrong. They know galat kaam ho raha hai. They know, but they don't know the magnitude of in a classroom setup. It's a no. You can't do it. You can't get physical with your friends. So of course, counselors are pulled in, and then you have a chat with
There
the
are three
child.
things that can happen as they displace their stress. One is harm to others. As a practice that I have been abused, I've been hit, so it's okay for me to hit
Yes.
others. That is harm to others. That can be harm to things. When they know that the school authorities are very disciplined about hurting somebody else, then they start hurting the school properties. I had a young boy who, when everybody would go for the assembly, would break the boards, the electricity boards, bash them up. He would take another child would take what is that called, that and scratch on the tables, the desks of the thing.
Vandalizing stuff
Yes.
to take
Absolutely.
out
So that
anger.
is harm to things, which is another displacement of their stress. And the third is self-harm. When they feel absolutely helpless, hopeless, worthless, when they are seeing no other form of reconciliation to the abuse that they're going through. And it need not be, Smita, only physical abuse. These days, what I see is more than physical abuse, there is emotional abuse. There is mental abuse that is happening into the children's life. So we need to take off it. I think a lot of parents, especially in the middle and the upper middle classes, may not be resorting to hitting, slapping, hurting the child. But they don't realize that these other forms of abuse are equally or more damaging.
And children have very, very tall antennas. They catch it. They catch the tension in the air. Even if parents are trying to behave normal in front of a child catches it.
Okay.
That's what you have to keep telling the adults. When they come in for PTMs and all, you have to tell them. Don't do it. Your child understands. Your child talks about it. If your child is going home and talking about what is happening in the school, your child is coming to school and talking about what is happening at home. So you need to be more careful. You have a young life to look into.
Yeah.
So that happens, yes.
Okay. Last question is about you guys. When you encounter these kind of cases where where a child is trying to cope with these kind of stresses, or a parent, how do you have the bandwidth, and how do you not take back that stress back into your life? Like, how do you cut that off? Does it impact you also mentally?
Smita, definitely, we all have emotions, and when somebody is coming with grievances, concerns, challenges in their life, you empathetically connect with that person, and it does impact you. But then you have to remind yourself that you are at this point of time being a resource to the person. You're being a part of providing them solutions. So don't become a part of the problem. So you need to affirm that. When I was doing my MPhil, there was 3 months, 1 full quarter in that, where they just taught us emotional detachment from clients to be better as a psychologist and to be able to provide them better solutions and resources. So I think it's a full training that you need to do, additional to de-stressing yourself. So I think you need to take care of your own self also to be able to give the best. So there needs to be physical care as a psychologist, as a counselor. I think what we preach is good sleep-wake cycles, good nutrition, adding exercise, whether it is physical exercise, mental exercise into our routines. Emotional health needs to be taken care of. Mental health needs to be taken care of for your own self. Social health needs to be taken care of. You need to have beautiful social relationships which are away from your client profession. You know, there should be people with whom you can laugh, with whom you can share, with whom you can connect. So I think it's very, very important as a therapist to choose what are your de-stress parameters and keep imbibing them to sustain being able to be successful with your clients and not being a part of their problem.
Interesting. And do you feel
It's
the
a
same way?
tightrope.
Yeah.
It is a tightrope. But
Like, do you come back home after, when there's a child who you've seen, young child, and you're unable to help that in the sense that resolve the issue? Because it's beyond you at that stage, whatever he or she is going through.
So I'll think about ways of how to keep that child distracted from those issues. For the next day and the next day, how to keep that child protected, feel safe and happy.
For the 5 hours that
for
she is with
that-
you.
Yeah. For that time that the child is with me, I need to take care of that child my way.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Thank you, Anshu. Thank you, Bhavna. Thank you for speaking to us, and I hope our viewers and listeners feel more empowered to be a parent who's able to be more empathetic towards their child and understand their child better after listening to this conversation. Thank you.
Pleasure being
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the NI Podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you've seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. Click here to watch the previous episodes.